I just finished putting together my Granberg mill with 24-inch rails. I found the instructions to be kind of cumbersome, so this is just a quick video instruction to save you some hassle and trying to interpret. This is the first part you put together, this middle rail, just as shown. The coupling nuts everywhere except for right there. It's a hex nut for that one for some reason. It could be either. All it's doing is holding this metal bar onto the bottom rail piece. And you put the handle on there, and lock washers in the middle because that's not going to move again, and flat washers on the outside because that is going to be tightened and loosened periodically. It didn't come with a washer for this piece. I just I think because the washers were too wide, so I just grabbed one out of a drawer and ground it down on the edges so it fit. And I put a little grease on both of these just to cut down on the friction because these are going to be loosened and tightened periodically. And once this middle piece is together, put it onto the rails here, and then you move on to putting on these end pieces here and make sure they're facing the same way on the handle side because that bar is going to go through there. And it's the same 3/4 inch by or 5/16 by 3/4 inch carriage bolts for all these parts. And then these get the lock washers, or lock nuts rather, lock nuts and flat washers. And same on this end, lock nut, flat washer. This one is going to be moved depending on the length of your bar. This one is stationary, so when I put this end together, I clamped a square on there just to tighten it down, just to keep everything nice and square. And then this one I just moved later and tightened up. After you get these crossbars on here, then you assemble, let's see, what was next? These post things, or the clamp. It's just a bolt, flat washer going through there, and the nuts are welded on the bottom, so that's real easy. You just want to make sure that the scale used for measuring, I don't know if that's visible, yep, there we go. The scale used for measuring is on the same side, so it doesn't get confusing. And then once you get those together, obviously the curved part goes against the chainsaw because that guides against the wood. And then you can, when you put that on, there's a little piece here to fit inside the U-bolt so that it matches the profile of the post. And then it's a flat washer and another one of these coupling nuts. These are going to be adjusted periodically to move up and down on the post, so they also recommend putting a little grease on these, just cut down on wear over time. And then this pole that goes through here, I had to sand down a little bit on the inside of that to get it to clamp together because it didn't quite close up enough to clamp on this bar. Just goes flush on that end, it sticks out a little bit on that end. Nothing too complicated. I really can't see any big benefit to using that other than it keeps you from putting your arm in there, which I will probably not do anyway. But I guess if you're holding the handle and you slip for whatever reason, you trip on something, it keeps your arm from going in. On this Still Easy, or ES, Rollomatic ES bar, it's got this removable tip, and I didn't want to clamp on anything that might need to be removed later. I put the clamp on this side, which gave me a total of 16 inches for a cut width. Only problem is that now this guy doesn't fit. I'm just going to have to make a mental note not to grab a spinning chain. I think I can do that. Otherwise, I don't really think I need that. Wouldn't be hard to make something else a little bit longer, and I might even move this down more later once I verify there's nothing underneath these rivets that could be clamped that would prevent operation. Either way, I'll probably just leave it there. So the tools that come with it are this jobby, which cover most of the bolts, except you also need a 3/8 for these guys, and some sandpaper for sanding out that post if necessary. And that's it. It's together. Tighten down the bolts, clamp it on the saw, and you're ready to play.